Welcome back to Automotive and another Chevelle episode, of course, because it's a big ass project. Now, last week, I don't know how crazy that was. Sorry if I gave you a whiplash on that one. Last week we did the driver's side quarter, and by did the quarter, I mean I did the front portion. Right? So I got the door hung, got the door lined up, got this tacked into place, kind of welded into place. It's not going anywhere. So this week, I need to do that portion on the passenger side, which of course means starting off with taking the damn thing off. So I'll get it taken off, go through with the flappy disc, and get all the areas I need to weld cleaned. And once that is cleaned, I can throw it back on there, get it somewhat lined up to the best of my ability, and then tack on the inside down here. Get the door, of course, lined up. Once that's tacked in, I can tighten this up nicely in here. And go through and tack down through there. And then it'll be done. And by done, I mean that part of it will be done. Started-ish. So that'll be today. And then, of course, after that, I will start the adventure of squaring up all of the back, because that is not going to be friendly. And I don't think it's very square, but only time will tell. Time and a lot of work. But it's looking good. Looks like a car again, even if it's not fully welded in place. It's nice to have things on. So I get to individually mount another door by myself. Go me. But enough rambling. Not enough rambling. I almost forgot. Don't forget to subscribe. You know, if you enjoy following this project and look forward to seeing what this damn thing becomes one day, and seeing it on the road and seeing it do, drag and drives and stuff, hit subscribe. Like the video if you enjoy the work I'm doing. Feel free to leave feedback at the bottom, comment, questions, hype me up. You do you, boo. Now let's get to work. So for starters, I've got to get the quarter panel off, which of course is easier than putting it on. Now the main reason to get it off was to go through and clean it for welding. Now I use the flappy disc, and looking back on things, probably not the best idea. Now what I didn't know when I was doing this, which I've kind of learned over time, is that the flappy disc does remove a lot of material as well, if you use it too long. Now since I was really just getting down to bare metal, I don't know that I caused that issue, but I've definitely got to figure out better ways of cleaning metal in the future. Now something I regret not doing as well is just going through and cleaning all of it off. And yeah, I'm gonna act like I didn't just drop the quarter panel, and trust me, it's not the first time. Thankfully, maybe the last time? Yeah, definitely last time. She gets welded. But, why not drop it a couple times? So with this, it's just kind of getting it in place and held up. What I didn't notice beforehand was that I didn't clean up the welds very well down here, so it was preventing the quarter from sitting all the way in there. So when you place this quarter, it does sit down on that ledge, and you kind of got to push it back up in there and get that body line lined up. I do have a fear that because of all the body filler that was on this side, and the other side too, is that lining it up might not be good, as in it might look okay, but is it where it should be? And that I don't know. One thing I'm kind of figuring out with this build, and since I'm very low experience, is that this is just going to be a car done on looks for right now. Does she look correct? Now I'm prepping the door, of course, before throwing it on there. I did find some spiders. I found some spiders in both doors. You're not going to see that in the video, but yeah, got them killed and then decided probably bug bomb my shop, which, you know, probably didn't accomplish anything because it's a damn shop. So it's just pulling off the old panel. I did go through and remove the screws that you didn't see. They're kind of rusty and crappy. This door isn't quite rusted through, but it is rusted. So in the future, I'm going to have to decide my path forward with the doors. Now, getting the glass out, it's not too difficult, but it's also not that easy. So this is the hardest part, and I cut most of it out, and that's just getting the window cleared at the end and through the holes. Now, hanging doors is something I've always hated doing. This is not the first time I've put on and removed the doors on this car. Definitely not the last time. But it's not fun. Now, every time I've done it by myself, so maybe that's why I hate it so much. But it's also just wonky getting everything lined up. So this side caused me more issues than the other side, and that's just because the parts are worn out. I'm going to need new hinges, I'm going to need a new whatever that mechanism is on the inside of the quarter. That, yeah, whatever it is. The stop for the door that the latch hangs onto. That's going to need replaced as well. You'll see later that the door just doesn't ever close properly. No matter how hard you slam it closed, it just doesn't close properly. Another issue I have with both doors is the weather stripping is essentially useless. It's either not there or it's crumbling or just squishy. It's not good. It all needs removed, replaced. New door latches, new door hinges, pretty much any hardware. Now, I don't know if I want to shave the doors in the future. I definitely don't like the stock handles, but it's also kind of an authentic muscle car look. Neither here nor there, I guess. I just don't want it to be chrome anymore. One of my goals with this car is to have, oh man, I might shoot myself for saying this, but no chrome. Not a big fan of chrome, but I'm sure that you're gonna see some chrome somewhere on this car, depending on, you know, how I do accessories for the engine and the steering system and stuff like that. But ultimately, I'm not big on chrome right now. Maybe that'll change one day. Maybe I'll get a 50 Merc that I just chrome out, but the Chevelle is not going to be chromed. And the 39, I don't have any plans for chroming that thing either. So I'm still struggling with the door. I did cut out a decent amount of hanging it. What you didn't see is me going through with the pry bar and lining up the quarter a bit. So my first part of welding, and I screwed up on the other side and I welded the outside because I really wanted to get rid of that seam, and I'll still get rid of that seam later. I'll figure that out, but I'm not good enough at welding to really bridge that gap. So what I'm doing here is I'm just spot welding a million times over and over until I get the quarter in there in place. So I've got it held in with clamps and pushed in. Cut a decent amount of that out because it's literally just me poking my head in there and taking it out over and over again. So over here I do have holes drilled in, and I'm just going through and I'm tacking those holes to the back metal. You can tell, definitely, I noticed a lot more when I was video editing just how bad that remaining metal from the inner structure of the car is. Now, mind you, this is not finish work. It's going to be a very long time before I'm actually doing finish work on the Chevelle. My main goal has just been getting it back to being a car, getting it on the road, and deciding really where I want to go with it. But ultimately, I want it on the road because I want to get to the 39. So I don't know if I did this part correctly, right? Neither side lined up on that bottom part of the quarter where it lines up. Now, it's fine with the door. It doesn't hold up the door. It's not in the way. It definitely needs cleaned up on both sides. I didn't weld it all that well, but it's on there. And it's really the bulk of the work, you know, just going through, having the holes, filling them with a weld, and then I'll go back through and I clean down the weld with the flappy disc. If there is a better way of doing this, let me know in the comments. Again, I'm just kind of learning. I see some things in YouTube videos, but you can't always tell what tools they're using. At least I can't. And with that, you're gonna hear me ramble while I'm not working. Talk about struggle busing. Didn't start out great. I feel like it finished better than it started. Can definitely tell my trunk's a little off. I don't know. Quarter panel is on. I'm not overly fond of this side, but this side's never been good. So I've got to make a decent amount of adjustments on the door. I mean, getting it to close doesn't close very well. I got the gap better, not great. Body line's better, not great. But quarter panel is, you know, mostly where it should be. This thing's just going to take a lot of detail work once everything's all back together. And that's all right, right? It's a learning experience, so I'm going to have to just figure it out as I go. It's pretty much all the work I'm doing for this video. I know it was really only one night. I don't know what it's going to seem like when I go through and video edit. It was just, I don't know, I've been out here a couple hours, so nothing too crazy. Door, you know, taken apart like the other side, mounted. Took a long time to get it anywhere near close, and I don't know that I'm happy with it. But one thing I do notice is there is still a lot of body filler on the door down here. So of course I haven't sanded the door down or anything like that, so I don't know how much work has been done on the door previously. That'll be a surprise when I get there. Now the next video is going to be, well, interesting to say the least. I'm going to pop the, whatever this piece is, not the package tray, but the part that connects the quarters and that the window sits on. So I'm going to kind of pop that in place, and I'll put the trunk on, and I'll square up the trunk, then I'll tack everything in place for, you know, this corner, that corner, that corner, and that corner. When those are all tacked in place and squared up, then I can try and get this tacked onto this when it's where I like it. And from there, I'll move the trunk, because the trunk still moves. It's not tightened in place by any means. So when that's all squared up, I'll weld on the inside. Now, all of this is not going to be in the next video. It is a ton of work, and it's going to be a ton of videos. So, you know, don't forget to like the video, comment, you know, let me know how I can improve. I'm new to most of this. You know, most of my work on cars was a lot of just bolt on and unbolt stuff. I built like one engine. I did accessories and stuff on other engines. I pulled and placed a lot of engines. You know, that's my experience. This car, when I bought it, was just the shell. So I assembled the interior. I put the motor and trans in and got all of that set up, but nothing wild. So this is all learning experience, which is why as you're watching the videos, you can tell that I'll step back and I'll just kind of stare at things like a dumbass. And that's because I'm trying to figure out the best way to do things. But she's starting to look like a car, and that's cool. The roof will probably be the last part to go on, but I'm looking forward to getting that on because I'm looking forward to taking this stupid inner structure out. One thing I did off the scene today was kind of go through and I figured out what rims and tires I want, at least momentarily. So I kind of wanted to see how far out they go, and they really don't go that far out. So I don't know if I'm happy with that or not. But I'm rambling. Almost 5 minutes into rambling. With that, let's just end the video. I'll see you on the next one.